Hello, welcome back to Asian Flicks, where we retell stories about Asian movies. If you like this story, please like and subscribe to this channel. Disclaimer, spoiler alert. In today's movie, we will follow the story of a young talented painter, Pico, who makes counterfeit paintings for a living. The film opens with Pico forging an art alone in the dark. Later, the scene shifts to an auction house where Pico's paintings are sold as an original. Pico collaborates with Uchup, a skilled hacker who specializes in dealing with counterfeit goods. Their work is sold through a broker named Dini, who later auctions them off at a prestigious auction house. And there is Pico's girlfriend, Sarah, is a martial artist who aspires to qualify for the National Olympics and always feels neglected by Pico, who seems to spend more time with Uchup than her. Every week, Pico visits his father, Budaman, who is serving time for his involvement in a bank robbery orchestrated by his friends. Pico is determined to reopen his father's case, and file a request for a new trial from the Supreme Court, but it will cost him $2 billion. Desperate for money, Pico confides to Uchup about his situation, and they decide to create forgery of a famous Indonesian painter, Raden Saleh, who is known for his unique and realistic style. Excited by the potential of their new venture, Pico and Uchup plan to make a large sum of money quickly. They meet up with Dini to discuss their next project and negotiate their payment terms. Dini proposes that they forge a painting titled Abduction of Prince Diponegoro. Initially, Pico declines the offer due to the high level of difficulty which will lead them to get caught. However, Dini offers them $1 billion for the job, which is 10 times their usual price, but Uchup raises it again to $2 billion, which is the cost of Budaman's lawyer. This convinces Pico to change his mind and accept the challenge. The next day, Uchup hacks into the National Gallery's server to obtain restoration data of the painting. Pico tells Sarah that he will be working on his graduation project and will be out of contact for a while. Sarah supports his decision, unaware that he is actually working on a counterfeit painting. Pico begins by painting the canvas white, and sketches the characters in the painting. He then asks Gofar, who is a skilled mechanic, to make a heating device that will create the sunset effect on the painting. The painting comes out exactly like the original, and they scream in ecstasy. Their excitement was short-lived, as Sarah later discovered their project. After hearing them out, she accepted and wanted to help them. The trio set out to transact with Dini, and Pico presented his masterpiece. Dini looks satisfied. But then, out of nowhere, the buyer, Pramati, a former president, show up and praised Pico's for his brilliance. The painting reminded him of the real one, which hang in the president's palace. He offered them $17 billion to switch the original painting, which scheduled to be transported out of the palace for maintenance in 2 weeks' time. They initially refused to steal, but Pramati threatened Pico with a video of his dad and will make him suffer, or even die if they didn't comply. Leave with no choice, they agreed to it. Pramati give them $500 million to fund the operation and master plan of the maintenance schedule. Pico and Uchup find out the palace has been using the same logistics company for the past 12 years. And the heist begin. Pico brought together a team consisting of Uchup, Sarah, Gofar, and his brother Tuk, who was an amazing driver. They started making a plan, but realized they didn't have the connections to get into the logistics company. So Uchup recruited Fella, a rich kid who was a hustler and had tons of connections. The gang came up with a plan to get inside the company as employees, and find out about the delivery route. Gofar and Tuk pretended to have diplomas and were later recruited as drivers at the company. Pico handled the painting, while Gofar took care of the frame and later modified their van to look exactly like the original. On the big day, Pico and Sarah drove the fake van, Fella drove her Tesla, Uchup managing the CCTV cameras, while Tuk and Gofar became the driver of the real van. As the plan was set in motion, Fella intentionally broke down her car, creating a traffic jam in a tunnel. While people tried to help her, Pico and Sarah drove towards the original van, but 2 police escort noticed that there were 2 identical vans. Pico and Sarah panicked and ran away, leaving their van behind. Uchup quickly left the control room and helped Fella escape. Everyone except Tuk managed to get away safely. When they reached their safe house, they realized that their plan had failed because Pramati had not informed them that the van would be escorted by police. After the failed heist, Tuk was taken to the police station for interrogation, but he luckily didn't give away anything. The police were curious about who was behind the heist, because the thieves managed to make a perfect replica of both painting and the van. However, when the police wanted to dig deeper, the case was rushed to be closed quickly by an unknown person. Consequently, Tuk was released as he was considered to be an ordinary truck driver. After releasing Tuk, The police called National Gallery to determine which painting was real and fake. The gallery sent a palace art curator who turns out to be Dini. She calmly examined both paintings and identified the original, which was then taken back to the gallery. As for the fake, Dini said that she would handle it personally because destroying such a high-quality duplicate required special procedures. Pico decided to visit the painting exhibition and saw that the painting was his, and not the original. The original painting was at Pramati House all along, and he had used them as a decoy to steal the painting. Later, Pramati visited Budiman in prison and who was the mastermind of the heist. Pramati even paid for Budiman's legal fees to reopen his case, but he refused to bail him out. Budiman tried to threaten Pramati, but his efforts failed, and he was warned that he would end up rotting in jail with his son if he spoke to anyone about the deal. Pico and his gang were livid and want to get back at Pramati for playing them. They came up with a plan to steal back the painting during Pramati's birthday party. To get invited to the party, they asked Sarah to seduce Pramati's playboy son, Rama, and Fela used her connections to become the event organizer with the rest of the gang as Fela employee. At the party, Pico dresses waiter and lock around to find the painting. He later found the painting in Pramati's study and signaled the others to activate the smoke bomb, but the remote didn't work. To make the plan succeed, Sarah improvised and hit Rama to create a distraction while Gofar manually turned on the smoke bomb. Pico and Uchup then sneak out the painting and drove away while the fire alarm was going off. After successfully stealing the painting, Pico and Uchup were celebrating their victory, but suddenly a car crashed into them and a masked man attacked Pico and Uchup. During the struggle, Pico managed to unmask the attacker, and was shocked to find that it was his father. Budiman explained that Pramati had framed him and that the painting was the only thing that could ever clear his name. He begged for Pico's forgiveness and then drove off with the painting. However, on the way, Budiman discovered that the painting inside the car was not Raden Saleh's, but another famous artist's painting. It turned out, Pico and his friends stolen two paintings, and Fela were carrying the real painting of Raden Saleh in her car, while Pico and Uchup act as a decoy. Meanwhile, Pramati was furious when he realized that Raden Saleh's painting was missing and ordered his men to find the culprit. However, before Pramati could get close, Dini, the palace art curator, contacted Uchup and offered to buy the painting for 150 billion. The gang accept the offer and get out of the business for good. That's all for today. Thank you for your support. If you enjoyed it, please consider like and subscribe to our channel. We'll be back with more great Asian flicks soon. Stay tuned.